Hey, what's going on? It's Tripp from trippadvice.com, and today I'm here with Barron Cruz from the Charisma Matrix. Long time coming to finally do an awesome interview and talk about charisma and being a high status male. So, Barron, thanks for joining me, man.
Nice. Thanks for having me. I want to point out right off the bat, I love your trailer on your YouTube channel. I feel like it really captures kind of the essence of a city night, like at 3 a.m. you're rolling home. I just like the overall feel for that. Well
Cool.
done.
Yeah, thanks. That was fun. That was when I was in Los Angeles, and me and my film crew were like, let's do something just crazy. And he's like, I know a guy with a car mount. He's like,
Yeah.
he's worked on Fast and Furious. Want to do that? I was like, yeah, let's do that. Like, sure.
Decent.
So
What time was that shot? I'm curious. It looked like it was like 3 in the morning.
it was like it was maybe like 10 p.m.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Gotcha.
10 p.m. So yeah, it was just funny like how it all worked driving around the city. And there's this car mount, this crazy car mount on there. People probably thought I was like, doing a music video or something. Like
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
looking at me, and I'm like, I'm going over the stuff I want to say. I'm driving. It was like that
Yeah.
was definitely uh, that was just like it was outside the comfort zone to say the
Oh, was
least.
it?
Yeah.
Because you seem so
Well,
calm and chill. You're like, listen, man.
well, I mean, like it was difficult because I had to drive and not die, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. At the same time, I'm driving with this mount on, so you can't go super fast, and you're downtown in the city, and I got to make sure I'm saying the things that I want to say in my head. So it's like you're just like, I guess comfort. It's not like I was scared. So maybe comfort zone is not the right word here. It was just something
Yeah.
I've never done before. It's just like
Yeah.
it was just an exercise. You know what I mean? For sure. So, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. I love it.
enough about that. We're here with
All
you.
right.
We're talking about charisma. We're talking about high status. So, first of all, you know, I've talked a little bit about high status on my channel. But for guys who are like, wait, high status, what's that? Why is that important? Give us a background of why should someone exhibit high status? What's the importance of that?
Yeah, that's a great question because being high status has such huge repercussions all the way from dating to being successful in the corporate world. So in the dating application, people want to be with people that they feel like are at least on their level, if not maybe a little bit higher, because everyone wants to feel like they're getting a little bit of a good deal. So if you position yourself like a lot of guys do with girls, like, you put the girl on the pedestal and she's the queen and you do everything for her, a little of that's okay. But if you're coming at it from a perspective that she's higher status or she's worth more than you, it's very repulsive and it just kills attraction. Now, as far as like a corporate application, if you are high status, you have a much higher chance of getting promoted, even if your manager doesn't necessarily like you. Say there's some really supplicative suck up guy that does everything he says, all the reports are in on time. That manager still feels a little more compelled to promote the guy who maybe is a little more disagreeable just because he feels like he has higher social status. So, in our brains, we're wired to respond, to look out and seek people of high status. So we need to understand all the communication we're giving off. And hopefully today we can go over some specific things that people can incorporate to increase the status kind of signals that they're giving off.
Cool. I like it. That's awesome. So, how did you learn about this? What's your background in terms of learning about charisma and how to carry yourself and high status? How do you know all this stuff?
Yeah. I have a much different story than most people. Most people, it seems like in the industry, specifically the dating industry, came from a very low place. They had no social skills, had no success whatsoever, and they built their way up. And I think that's cool. And I think that resonates with a lot of guys who are in the same position. But I was in a bit of a different position in that I was fortunate to be raised in a family that was very social and gregarious and outgoing. And it was about sixth grade that I realized how much of an advantage that was to me by having those skill sets. And so I was like, well, I'm just lucky that I happen to be growing up with this type of environment, but I don't want to lose that. I want to understand it so I can at least keep it, if not grow it. So at that point, I began reading, studying everything from communication to speeches to public speaking to dating, everything like that. And once you get into this, I'm sure as you experience, your head just begins to constantly analyze what's going on in public. Everywhere you are, you're thinking, what's in that guy's head? What's in that guy's head? And you become very proficient at that. And once you become aware of that, I think it enables you to really take off with a strong trajectory as far as improving and seeing things that other people don't see, but more importantly, explaining those things in a way that other people can understand who can't see that, which is why I kind of named the channel Charisma Matrix.
Got it. Got it. That's cool. So, did you put things into practice after you were learning, or you said you grew up in a very gregarious family, so you have it a little bit kind of instilled in you. But was
Right.
there any obstacles that you had to overcome, or when you were reading books about all this information, how did you use that information to get better?
That's a good question. A lot of people think, there's a lot of discussion about guys who are naturally good with women and whatnot, naturally social. I was very social. I was, as an athlete, I went out, I always had a lot of friends, but I was not good with women. And the only reason wasn't because I felt like my worth was low. I just didn't know how to interact with women. So I think that's interesting for a lot of guys who just kind of strive to become like these bros. And they're like, oh, the bros get all the girls. Well, it's great to have that social confidence, but you also have to have the skill and understand what's going on in a girl's head. And when you say this and when you do this, how is that being perceived, which I didn't understand. So the challenge for me was having good social skill and good social awareness, but not specifically when it comes to dealing with women. So that's kind of the first step that I had to take that that helped me improve in that component, I guess you'd say.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about how to be a high status male so you can attract women. So we went over about why it's important to be high status. Tell us a little bit more. Is there anything you can add on to that of why guys should even bother to listen to this advice? Why is it going to, what kind of benefits are they going to receive from being a high status male? Why even put the energy and effort into it?
So in addition to being looked at more favorably in the dating market and in the job market, or whether you're an entrepreneur, people want to do business with other high status people, right? You trust people who are high status. But another component that's very valuable is just the way you feel. So many guys are running around in this kind of supplicative haze. Their tonality is so high, they don't want to offend anyone. They're so beaten down by social pressure. That's a timid, not confident, unenjoyable way to walk through life. When you've got high status and you understand your worth and you truly believe that at your core, your day-to-day life is more enjoyable because you're going out, you've got this value, you're confident you can handle things, and you're confident that other people are going to respond well to you because you know how to create that. There's no ambiguity. It's like, oh, I hope if I go up to this guy, he may not like me, and you go up timid. You know you can handle it. And if he doesn't like you, you're confident enough in yourself through your status. Who cares? I mean, when's the last time that someone did something snide to you, Tripp? I bet you thought about it for 2 seconds and never even thought about it again. Where most guys will be dwelling on that for a week and they're thinking about it and it's looping in their subconscious and their own value in their head is going like this just because they misinterpreted some guy giving them a snide look at Starbucks.
Right. Eventually you get to the point where that has no worth to you. So naturally you don't think about that. It doesn't hit you in the same way as maybe someone who might be low status because you're just not, it's not something that absorbs. Like it bounces off of you because you just don't care. You're like, oh, it doesn't.
See, but you really
there's no
don't
meaning. You really don't care. It's not like you're
Right.
trying not to care.
Yes.
And by the way, that takes a very long time to get to. And I'm no genius at it. It's still, we're all still human. So of course, on some level, it's not like I'm 100%. There's a shield in front of me from from everything in the world. But what's cool is the more confidence you get, just being out there and talking to people and just experiencing, you start to become more comfortable, and that's when things kind of start to happen. That's when you start to actually have a little bit of that shield, and things do start to bounce off. You don't become as sensitive to
Yes.
some of the things that may happen, like for example, a rejection from a girl. Of course, you're going to be freaked out to get rejected from a girl if you've only maybe been rejected once or maybe not at all because you've never done it before. You know what I mean? Like, am I going to have more confidence driving in my car with a mount and well, maybe not now because I did it like a year and a half ago. I might have reset everything. But the point is I think a lot of experience brings that that confidence, you know?
Sure, and
So
that's a good point. That shield, it's slowly built up. It's like you don't wake up one day and you're Iron Man and have a shield that's impenetrable. You just start and you build it up, and then maybe a slight rejection doesn't quite hit you as much. But you got to keep out there. The exposure is definitely a component of that growth.
yeah, exactly. So how can guys become a high status male? How does a guy who's just sitting on his couch right now, or on the train, he's watching this video, what can he start doing? And I know you've got a lot of cool tips. So where does a guy start?
Cool. I feel like in this industry, there's so many people that give kind of ambiguous things. You want to picture yourself confident, this and this. I love giving explicit tactics and knowledge that people can apply. And this is kind of one. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see people in general making, let's say you're in a social situation, you're going to a party and you're a single guy. People don't realize that people's opinion of you and attributes that they begin assigning to you happen the minute you walk through that door. So many people are focused on, oh, right when I go up, what do I say? What kind of eye contact? Everyone has an impression of you that is so solidified by the time you go up there, and that's formed the minute they take a look at you. Most people hugely underestimate how much of an impression people get from you in that very first second, whether you're talking to someone else, whether you're not talking to anyone at all your subcommunication, your body language, the way you stand, the look on your face. So many people's face is so tense in a social situation, you can tell they're not comfortable. People pick up on that. So you walk through the door, we need to be very aware that everyone is looking at us. Everyone is sizing us up. But that's a good thing because there's no variability, right? You approach somebody, you don't know what they're coming at you with, how they're going to be, how they're going to receive your approach. But when you're just walking into a room, there's no variability. Unless someone dumps a Gatorade bucket on your head, you're just dealing with walking in and you know people are looking at you. So we want to be aware of that, and we want to have good body language, shoulders back. I like to think about, as opposed to standing upright, like everyone says, elongating your neck. So you're coming in, it kind of creates a nice posture. And you also want to come in, if you were someone else, be kind of joking around. We want to show that we're at ease in these social situations because that shows high status. Nobody is comfortable in a situation where they feel like they're low status in relevance to everyone else. So when you come in, you're loose, maybe you're cracking a joke with your buddy, maybe you're on the phone walking up, you're in a good mood, a little smile on your face, you're standing up strong, you walk in, everyone's like, is that this guy's party? Who is that guy? Why is he so, everyone else is kind of holding their drink, looking around, worried about what everyone else is thinking. You're in there loose. Boom. Now, when you do go up and talk to people at that party, they're looking at you through rose-colored glasses. They've already assigned all these positive attributes. So when you say the same thing to somebody versus if you came in, like this, like most people, don't look at me, I just walked in, the same thing that you're saying is going to be received completely different through kind of high status glasses when you do that. So that's the first thing I would stress guys to do, is realize that the interaction begins the minute people can see you because they start forming an opinion and assigning attributes to you.
Okay, cool. I like it. Let's keep moving. What's the next one?
Okay. Well, another study that we were kind of talking about was they took a guy and they put him on a street corner with different clothing. One of them was a loose-fitting, untailored T-shirt and baseball cap. Another guy was in like a nice tailored sport coat. And they said, can you just give us some attributes that you think about this guy? What might his job be? What kind of car might he drive? And the attributes we assign to these people, the same people wearing different clothing, is just staggering. So why not use that to our advantage? How hard is it? Go to the Men's Warehouse and get a $60 off the rack, tailored coat. It's not expensive. So push yourself as far as the attire you wear because it has a huge difference. Now, when it comes to dating, they just redid this study. I read it a couple days ago where they said, this guy dressed in the T-shirt and hat, would you consider dating him? Would he be a good father? Would you ever consider marrying him? And the difference in those responses was just as dramatic. So clothing is a means of subcommunication, which people assign huge amounts of attributes and social status to, which is so easy to control. Once again, I love doing these things that there's no variability. Nobody's going to come into you while you're in your closet and say, you can't wear that. You don't make 150 grand a year. Take that sport coat off. You can do whatever you want, and it's so powerful. So those two things are really good places to start.
Cool. I like that. That makes sense. I mean, you see someone walk down the street with a really nice suit on and like sunglasses and everything fits nice and they're sharp. You're in your head, you're going to be like, that guy looks important. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
he's going to an important meeting where they're going to be discussing millions of dollars, And the
Yes.
extreme opposite, you see someone walking on the street who's practically homeless, who's, has raggedy clothing and smells bad and is dirty, and you're unfortunately your first move and action is to get away from that person. You want to kind of move away from that person, not towards that person. So yeah,
Right.
it's those first impressions that really do make a big deal. But as we both know, that doesn't mean anything. You can go up there and you can be as snazzy dressed as you want, but if it doesn't continue from there, you could make it all fall apart. So what does the guy
Of
do
course.
after that?
Of course. It starts you out on the right foot. So it's going to give you the advantages, but you're right, that can fall apart quickly, but still
Right.
we want to on our side. Well, the only other thing I was going to talk about, I know we're getting a little long in the tooth here, but what I kind of consider like the poker tell of social status is pinging. So, in case people aren't poker players or haven't seen rounders, poker tells is something like a movement or an action that someone does that they don't realize they're doing that indicates whether they have a strong or a weak hand. So, pinging really indicates to people they don't realize they're doing it where they feel like they fit as far as their social status is concerned to other people. So, let's look at a dating application. Someone who feels like they have lower social status than the girl or is uncomfortable, nervous, they're pinging, which means they're looking for cues from the environment or people in the environment to ensure what they're doing is okay. They're getting a reference point that what they're doing is okay. So, they say something to the girl and they're constantly just these little fleeting looks just to check in with their eyes to be sure that what they're doing is okay. That indicates all the wrong things. It shows a lack of confidence. Someone who's confident, even note this next time you're out. Who's the most confident guy in the group? Look around. He's not pinging off people. He's confident. He's making, when he does make eye contact, it's long, it's direct, it's intentional. None of this fleeting is what I'm doing, okay? The worst application of this is when someone tells a joke. Like, have you ever seen someone who's not confident? They barely get the joke out, and immediately they're looking around the group in people's eyes to see how they responded. That
Waiting
can
for the
kill the joke.
reaction, right?
Yeah, yes, they're trying to create that reaction. Whereas the confident, high status guy, he's not doing that. He doesn't even really care about the reaction. And ironically, that's what makes the joke funny. So just in your mind, when you're out in situations, whether you feel high confidence in that one or high status or not, notice your pinging and intentionally try to decrease that, because most people, if you talk to them, hey, how is his pinging level? They have no idea what they're talking about. But subconsciously, they're thinking, say it's a date, this girl's thinking, this guy seems really uncomfortable. He doesn't seem confident, just by doing that pinging. So if we can become aware of that poker tell and we realize it, our brains will naturally try to kind of reduce the amount of times we do it when we realize that it's to our negative.
Yeah, and you said a key word there that I want to extract from you is comfortable. One of the things that I know about being a high status male or exhibiting high status is that idea of comfortability. Being comfortable in your own skin, being comfortable with who you are, being comfortable with the people around you, being comfortable socializing. That is very attractive. That calm, relaxed,
Yeah.
in control kind of vibe that you're giving off, through your body language and the way you speak, right? All those things are going to exhibit that you're a high status male. So being comfortable is key. And that kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, is if you want to be comfortable with that, you have to experience it over and over and over. It's been really cool too. I say this a lot in videos. I really can't get over it. It's so awesome that in terms of this skill, socializing is done with people, right? There are billions of people on this planet. What does that mean for guys like us and people watching in terms of getting better at this? It means we have an infinite, it's pretty much an infinite amount of opportunities to get better at this skill and get comfortable, because you can talk to, depending on where you live, of course, if you're in a town of 500, that's a different story, but you don't have to be there. You can go to a city, you can travel around, and there's just so many people that you can practice this stuff with over and
Yeah.
over and over and over. It's unlimited. So it
Yeah.
gives you that opportunity. So why is it so cool? It gives you that opportunity to get better at it. It's like
Yeah.
almost, it's easy at that point. You know what I mean?
It's
great.
like free practice. Like if you're learning a foreign
Yeah.
language, you got to pay someone online who speaks Spanish. But this, it's free practice everywhere. You can
Free
talk to anybody.
practice any time of
Yeah.
the day, whenever you
Yeah.
want. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I love that. I love that comment on comfort, because being comfortable is so important when you're high status, because when you're comfortable, what does that do to the other person? It makes them comfortable. They feel that. So being able to create comfort in other people, especially in stressful environments, say you're at a real chic club downtown Chicago on Hubbard Street, and everyone's dressed up to the nines and the girl's a little bit uncomfortable, and you're just cool and you're icy and you're so comfortable about it, and she can hear that in your voice. They love that because it creates comfort in them just by seeing that you're comfortable. So the comfort thing, I mean, that's something we could get into at a much deeper level, but I love that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Awesome. Cool. So are there any other ways maybe that we've missed in terms of how guys can exhibit that high status so they can start attracting more girls that they converse with? Is there anything else?
Yeah, the last thing I'd say pertains to eye contact. When you hear people teaching about eye contact, you hear a lot of times ratios, like you should be looking at her 80% of the time and away 20% of the time. But I like to focus on what kind of eye contact you're making. When you're making eye contact, what's going on in your head? Is once again, if you're pinging, is it fleeting? Are you checking in? Or is it confident, direct? A girl can see so much in your eyes. They can sense confidence like no other when you're talking to them. So if you're thinking in your head, oh, I hope she likes me, she can see all that stuff. So when you make eye contact, whether it be with a woman or, in public, maybe you're talking to your CEO who's very high status, you want to be sure that in your mind, you're confident, you're feeling confident, and let them look in your eyes. This is not something where you're checking in. It's almost like in your brain, think, okay, I'm going to give them a couple seconds just to see what's going on in my head. Really calm, really cool. And that's a really powerful thing to focus on as opposed to the percentage of the time you're looking at them. I think the quality and intensity and what you're communicating and feeling with the eye contact is a better way to analyze that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's an interesting way of putting it. Almost like the idea of quality over quantity. You're saying it's not about the ratios and the 80-20, 90-10 or whatever it is. It's about the type, the actual quality of the eye contact that you're giving to the girl. Yeah, it's true, right? Like we could sit there and I can stare at a girl like this and give amazing eye contact and look really weird. I'll do right now to the guy watching. Like, how freaking weird is this? That's really good eye contact, but this isn't going to make someone feel uncomfortable. But if you can have more relaxed, almost like a smile in your eyes, it's a little more
completely different. Just looking at the
vibe.
screen, yeah.
Right. It's way more comfortable and it's way more confident. So yeah, that's a good way of distinguishing. I like that you brought that up. That's great. So cool. Listen, this has been a great interview.
Yeah, nice.
If you're still sticking around, I want you to go check out Barron. He's at Charisma Matrix. I'm going to put his YouTube channel, should be already up. I'll put that up on the screen so you can go subscribe to him and learn more about being a high status, charismatic, attractive guy that you could use in business, you could use with girls, you can use with friends and family. So really across the board. Barron, dude, thanks so much for coming on, and any last words for the guys out there still sticking around?
No, that's it. If you guys enjoyed this was great. I'd love to do one on my channel too, to get you on and maybe talk about an extension of this or maybe take it a different direction. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks again.
Man. Awesome. Happy to have you. Excited to do more of these, and we will talk again soon.
Cool, man. We'll see you.